So if they want to go 6.5 feet to the property line.
Okay.
Chris.
Here.
Jim. Yo. Dave.
Here.
Tom.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
Donna.
Not present.
Okay.
And she's resigning, I understand.
Yeah, I'll probably have to resign too unless I'd be doing it long distance from Puget Sound.
Okay. That may make an issue for our next meeting. Are you going to be in town for next month?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably a
Because,
couple. Who knows?
I'm going to be out of town July and August probably.
My plan is to split in August when the weather's best.
Okay.
Like
So.
forever or just for the month?
Well, ever is the plan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
25 winters. It's too many winters. Anyway. Okay.
So. And does anybody have anything to add to the minutes from the last meeting?
I move to accept the minutes. I second.
All in favor?
Yo.
Aye. Okay.
Table.
Do we have any amendments to the minutes for this meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think we need to request that the mayor appoint 2 more people to planning and zoning due to Jim's imminent demise and Donna's resignation.
Demise? Well,
Oh, no,
I'll
demise.
accept that.
Imminent departure, sorry.
Whatever.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't.
That bothered me.
We also probably need to, since I'm going to be out of town and Donna has resigned, we need to appoint a new vice chair. Yes, Liz.
You might want to just add those items to your agenda.
Okay, that's what I'm saying is we're amending the agenda right now.
Right.
So
No, you're doing the minutes.
the minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were done with the minutes.
We approved.
We approved.
We approved. I was on to agenda.
Oh, you said minutes again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
A second.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you add the Children's Center application?
Oh, we've also got to add under new business the Children's Center application, which just came in. So.
Okay, I redo my approval of the agenda with the addition of the Children's Center application.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. At this point, I guess we open the public hearing on the Kaepernick to cover the existing deck located 0 feet from the property line. It doesn't appear that we have anybody here. We do have a letter that's in your packet that was just added concerning the public hearing.
And where would that be? Right there.
Page 4 or something.
Thanks.
It's right after the application.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, do you want me to read it?
certainly.
Okay. Members of Petersburg P&Z, variance request for Kurt and Janet Kernvik. I'm writing in support of this variance request. I'm an immediate next door neighbor on the side of porch in question. My property line ends before the area of porch and trees on property behind my lot and adjacent to the Kernviks. Block any view of the porch in question from my house. As pointed out in the request, this greenbelt is in a location likely to ever be developed. I have seen water damage caused in the past, and I think a roof extension over the porch, window, and door area would prevent further issues in addition to creating a nice space for entertaining neighbors. Due to my work schedule, I'm unable to attend this public hearing, so please accept this letter as my enthusiastic support of Kernvik's planned improvements. Many thanks for your consideration. Patricia
Hudel.
Hudel?
Huddle.
Huddle.
Huddle, Hudel. Either way.
Well, since we have, what?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I was going to say, just since we have nobody here to testify and we only have the one letter.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Table it?
Close the public hearing.
Jim.
Oh. Okay.
And since we have no visitors, we can skip over visitors' views related to agenda item and visitor views unrelated to agenda item. So which brings us to the report from staff members concerning the variance. I guess that's,
It's in your packet,
yeah.
written report.
I have some questions regarding that.
Sure.
There are a few questions that are brought up for me. One is, was a permit applied for on that deck when it was built?
Good question. The deck was probably built as part of the house. I mean, obviously they got a permit for the house, and I don't necessarily see that deck on the original permit.
Okay. So it was
Or it was
added as an afterthought, probably at the
probably.
time of construction.
Well, yeah, and whether it got that close to the property line, I don't know why it was that close to the property line.
Yeah, that's the question
Yeah.
that it brought up with me was, if it was something that had been permitted, then, that kind of changes our things a little bit. But
Well, the house was permitted,
the house was
and it
permitted.
followed through with a final inspection, so it was accepted.
And my other question on that is, has anybody looked at how that deck is constructed? Is it adequately attached to the house? And
Other than the pictures, I haven't physically gone over there
no,
and looked at it.
okay, that was the other question.
Yeah.
I have
You have?
been over to the house and seen the deck. And
Okay.
it's nice. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, it looks good from the pictures. Just being the height that it is off the ground, it would require a permit, and that's what my question was.
Mr. Chair, could I ask staff a question about the green belt? Because I'm
Certainly.
confused exactly what that is when they reference the green belt.
The lot there is zoned public use,
Public use, which means,
that it wouldn't be developed.
so it's owned by the
Borough.
borough.
It's owned by the borough, yeah.
And the borough have any long-range plans or any intentions, do you see of ever
It's-
utilizing that, like selling it?
Probably not.
We were looking at it, and that's the area where, somewhere in that area, we didn't have it on the map, there's that conservation easement that they use for the fire hall.
Oh, okay.
So
that
that's
that
what
is-
it's being used as.
I see, so it's a set aside as a conservation issue.
Yeah.
Mitigation for,
Mitigation.
which means it's
I don't
got
know
to
if it's
stay that
that
way.
exact spot next to them, but that,
Right.
Close.
There was a chunk of land in there that when they built the fire hall, obviously they had to mitigate some, so they gave up this for,
For green belt.
for Greenbelt, yeah.
And so that
Whether
means-
this is part of it, that whole area there is that gully that runs through there, in behind their house.
Right, that was my
It's pretty
observation.
much
of it being developable.
Undevelopable,
Okay.
really in the big picture, as far as I see it. And I don't know whether that actual lot is,
it's a really big lot.
is part of that mitigation easement or not, but it is either, if it isn't, it's next to it or in that area.
Well, when I looked at it, it didn't look like it was reasonably developable by anybody.
That area,
But I don't know, I wasn't able to find any monuments or any markers. I just noticed there was, like you said, a big ditch there and a bunch of trees. So, okay.
it'd be, just accessibility, I don't know how you'd access it, even if it was developed.
Yeah, that's my question.
Another question I had concerning that was kind of related to whether you'd looked at that deck, is would adding the weight of a roof on that deck be more than what those foundations for that deck could handle? There's no picture of what the foundation
I
on
guess
that
my
deck is.
answer to that would be, if you were to allow this roof to be built, when they came in and asked for the building permit, I would address that in the
Okay.
building permit process.
Yeah.
If I deemed it wasn't, I would make them
I
be-
wanted to make sure that, because
Yeah.
I've seen issues of decks collapsing from
Yeah,
being
no, this would
overbuilt
be-
like this, so.
that would fall into my shoulders when I go to issue the permit, and I would look at it in that
I
respect.
just want to make sure we
Yeah.
notate that, and if we do
Sure.
issue the variance, that we
Sure.
make sure that that's addressed.
It's just like anybody else, if there
Yeah.
were, some people have come in and asked to put a second
Yeah.
story on their house, we have
Right.
to look at the structurability of the first
Yeah.
story that was never, I would look at that before I allowed
Okay.
a roof load on there.
I'm wondering if there should be one stipulation. I don't really have a problem with what they propose, but they couldn't close that porch in the future, because you can run into all kinds of trouble with the windows too close to the lot line and not the 3 foot and all that. And I'm not so sure there shouldn't be some kind of a statement as long as it maintained an open porch.
Well, I think
with
if
only a
we
roof.
specify it as a roof over an existing deck, and that's it, that's not
Yeah,
specifying it as.
I think it should be specific.
Well, if you put it, it's a conditional use permit.
No, it's a variance.
A variance, oh, it's not a variance. So I don't know if you can put stipulations on a variance. But that would be another process too, if they were, when we issue the permit. I mean, if they ever were to make that a room, they'd obviously have to come and follow up, and we could,
Yeah.
if we have this.
Now, the other question I had concerning that was, since the deck is existing, is that considered a violation right now going to the property line? And we're just discussing adding the roof to the deck, or is it the whole structure that you're talking about? If we
You're
give
discussing-
them the variance to put the roof on, what I'm saying is
it still a violation?
is the deck still a violation? If we said we give you the variance to put the roof on, but you can only go within 3 feet of the property line, even though the deck goes to 0 feet.
What you're giving is a variance from the side setback to 0 feet. So then that makes the deck legal. Right
Okay.
now, it is in violation.
It is in violation. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I was just trying to clarify there.
But again, all you're doing is giving a variance on the setback. You're not giving any direction on what the deck is or
Okay,
is
well,
not.
I'm just trying to figure out where, what our,
Yeah,
and-
currently it is in violation.
And if you look at your pictures too, in answer to your question, Tom,
Yeah.
it says all 3 sides will remain open. So
Yeah.
what they're asking for, they're stating right here that all 3 sides will remain open.
I
So
saw that
they've
in
made
there.
that statement, so they cannot progress any further without it.
Yeah, I saw that in there, but I wondered if we needed to clarify that statement when we issue something that it remains open. Otherwise, you're gonna run into all kinds of problems.
Then my concern too would be that when they did construct the roof, that it not extend past the property line. You know, like they have eaves, so they might actually have to chop part of the deck off to make it work. That's, if it's already up to 10 feet right now, I mean, they need to be aware that when they build it, I mean, just looking at
I
the slope,
understand.
I think it's gonna be really hard for them to have any type of slope on that's gonna unload snow for an existing 10-foot deck. I mean, that means for it to unload snow, they're gonna have to go up higher than what they have there in slope.
I know it's kind of hokey, and Kurt agreed it was kind of hokey, but if you look at that artwork he put
Yeah,
on all 3 sides open,
yeah,
where he's got his posts coming in behind, more towards where the bearing looks like the beam, physically,
Right.
where it's backwards of the original handrail,
Right,
and
yeah.
then the eave comes over. It probably even looks to me like with the exterior handrail, which it's hard to say by the as-built or whatever if it's the actual handrail or the edge of the deck that's close to the property line on that picture. You know, it shows it right there, but it doesn't quite tell me.
but
It says
you,
deck, but it doesn't quite tell me if that cap, that 2x6 cap that's sitting on top of there, is that what they're measuring to? Usually when they do an as-built, they measure to the outermost point of wood, whether it be trim or anything for an as-built.
so can I ask a question then? So you'll deal with all those issues when they get a building permit to construct
Correct.
this? And you'll make them aware that they have to get a building permit to construct the
Oh, yes,
roof?
That'll be in the letter that we sent.
yeah, it's.
And then if we put a stipulation in that no part of this should extend past their property line.
We will be sure of that too
Okay,
in the
thank
building permit process, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, there's no discussion. I make a motion that we grant, this is a variance, correct?
well, we're on the staff report.
Oh, okay.
We need to go down to the unfinished business to get to that point.
Okay.
So are we done asking questions of the staff?
Yes.
Okay. So let's move to unfinished business. Is there any additional discussion of from within us of what we have concerns about, or before we put this to a vote. I guess my concern on it is, besides the structural issues of adding a roof to the deck, we're granting a variance to go to 0 feet. Is that in keeping with what the regulations state? And I'm a little concerned, based on some of the comments in the staff report, that it's not. I could see, if they were asking to go to within the 3 feet, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I want to see what you guys have to say about going closer.
I'm the opinion that under these circumstances, that property that's next to them, it's not an issue. If it was
Being public use, yeah.
Right. If it was private, then I would have
I would
maybe
definitely
more of an issue. But in this particular instance, I don't see a problem.
Yeah.
That's my own feeling.
The only other thing would be to get it to the 1 hour fire rating. In the corner post, but you can do that with posts as long as they're 8 inches.
Yeah.
So,
Heavy timber.
but I don't know, because it isn't really buildable property. I think
I don't think that's
some consideration that's got to be given there or something.
Yeah, again, if it was
Because you
usable
can't
property.
really build it to 1 hour fire rated. Well, you put 8-inch posts. That's the minimum post that you can have and be 1 hour fire rated.
Yeah, well, they'd have to wrap the eaves and the overhangs too.
Yeah,
if you're going to go
wrap that with
Yeah.
sheetrock.
But since there's not a structure within any distance reasonable.
And I hate using the word never, but there probably never will be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a situation here that you've got that probably it had been looked at closer or whatever they did that deck would have been 3 feet.
Yeah.
Now.
It would have been 7-foot deck instead of a 10-foot
Yeah.
deck. Yeah.
And then we wouldn't be facing
Yeah.
this so much.
You have any thoughts on this, Jim?
I try not to.
I mean, if it's an issue, I mean, we could just say that the roof not extend past 7 feet, have at least a 3-foot setback.
Yeah.
But then, of course, then the snow's just going to unload on the deck, which
Yeah.
is kind of like, what's the point?
And if you,
Right.
Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose. I mean,
Yeah.
if there was an adjacent property or any potential that property would ever be developed, I would not support this. But
Yeah.
since it's already there and the deck's already there,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the elephant's already got its trunk under the tent.
Well, and it's kind of something of, I'm not quite sure why they positioned the house where they did on the property, but it's there now, and we got to address it based on what's there. Did you have any comments on this?
Joe, do you have anything? What do you feel about this?
I said there's the latitude that you have. It probably doesn't meet the criteria under the ordinance. If you look at the findings of fact or what we have to the strict application, but then some latitude has to be given, I guess, for what you're explaining about the fact that this is. I gotta use the word never. Never will there be any development on that next lot. And it's quite a big area too. It comes all the way down here, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't this it wraps around? So it's like the adjacent neighbor is this Patrice, who lives next door, is quite a ways away from this deck. So I think her property only goes back 100 feet because they bought this back lot from the city. So this back lot will never.
It'll be used for mitigation, probably.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've heard of coming up on there was discussion at one point during the comprehensive plan by somebody, I can't remember who it was, about possibly building a trail through there for access up to coming out from Hammer Slough up by the fire station. But that's the only thing I've ever heard of anybody discuss on that property.
I've heard that.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I'll just make a motion that we approve the variance, allow them to build a roof, and all the issues that we've discussed that Joe will put in the letter to them, that they have to get a building permit.
Do we have to do the findings of fact on that after? We do the motion first and then the findings of fact? Or should we do the
Do
findings
the-
of fact first?
Do the motion and then, yeah, do the findings
Okay.
of fact and vote on each finding of fact. since
Okay.
We're not taking the written ones, so you have to do your own.
Okay.
Okay, do you want me to rephrase it?
No, we just need a
No,
motion.
do we need a motion first, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay, I make a motion that we allow the variance for the Kernvik to construct a roof on their deck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I was just gonna ask that it's to 0 feet,
To 0
0
feet.
feet.
Yes,
Mhm.
just so
As
you know.
written.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, findings of fact.
Why don't I ever buy this
You
lot?
tell them in a hurry.
Is this a lot? Or is this just,
It's supposed to really be.
yeah, so it's not really a lot.
Checking out.
Like this was a lot.
Okay.
Because this was platted as a lot.
So the request, we're stating that the request is consistent with the stated purpose of variance permit. I feel that this is because the deck has been existing for a long period of time, and we're trying to resolve the issue of that deck and allow them to protect their house better from the snow and rain and such. I would say some latitude should be allowed in that regard. Any thoughts from anyone else on that?
I agree.
Yep, I'm agree.
Jim?
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
What was the vote on that?
So,
Did you vote on that first one?
5-0.
yeah.
Or-
5-0.
5-0, yeah. Are there any exceptional physical circumstances applicable to the property which do not generally apply to other properties in the same zone? I think due to the fact that it backs up on the public use property is rationale for allowing the variance. Does anybody else have any comments on that?
Just agree.
I agree too.
I agree.
Great.
I agree. If we, strict application of the provisions of this title would result in particular difficulties or unnecessary hardships for the individual, well, I mean, to grant them the 3-foot, the standard 3-foot that would be normally allowed would require them to rebuild the deck to meet that requirement. I don't know what, you guys have any comments on that?
No, I'll buy that.
Yeah,
The deck's there, it would be a difficulty for them to alter it for something that's reasonable.
and again, because it's backing up on a green belt, I would allow it, but, you know, if it was just regular residential property, I would say no, but, any other comments?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
The granting the variance will not result in material damage or hardship or prejudice to other property owners in the vicinity, nor be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. As long as the borough doesn't have a problem with that being up against, which I don't, since it's public use and it's pretty much being used as mitigation, it sounds like. And then also that as long as the requirements for safety, as far as full inspection of the deck and making sure that it's sufficient to support the loads that are being added, as well as the loads of people being on the deck to begin with, I don't see a problem there. Does anybody else have any comments?
Oh, I think in its Right now, we are the borough. right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I don't have a problem.
Yeah,
I don't either, I agree.
I agree.
I agree. So,
Okay.
let's move on to new business. Accepting and scheduling a public hearing for Mark Severson to extend the existing net house to 0 feet from the property line at 109 Cornelius.
So moved. Get
I second.
Yeah, I think it's one we probably need to have some discussion on, but I haven't gone down and looked at the property yet, so I don't know what the exact situations are in surrounding
We're just
lots or
looking at
anything.
it.
But, yeah,
It's a single family, right? And is there, okay, I know where it's
There's
at.
a,
I haven't looked at it yet.
there's a conditional use for a net house already.
how close is it right now to the property line? Because
I think
I didn't
10 or 12 feet.
10 or 12 feet.
It's
Something
20.
It's 20 right
It's
now?
20 feet.
Yeah, because
Oh, 20, yes, okay.
when they got the permit to build that second warehouse, they built it with the setback.
Oh, yeah, you can see it in your packet.
Was there any conditions in that conditional?
Oh,
use
so they want to
permit?
go down the side of the whole thing and then
Yeah.
across the back.
Yeah, this property there was like two different permits, or three. They got a conditional use to put or variance, there was a conditional use, yeah, conditional use to put the existing pole warehouse. Then they had to have another one to put that addition up front. Now they're asking to extend it to the side.
Mid-cough rambling.
Yeah,
What's on the adjoining lot to that side?
it's Mark Weaver's warehouse.
More warehouse? And how close is that warehouse to the-
It's like right there.
It's, Weaver's warehouse is like right on the property line.
It's right on the property line.
So
Don't
I'm-
ask me.
Is there that's going to have to be an issue addressing fire?
If this were to, as this goes further, and I'll look into it, I'd like to look back when Weaver built that, if that wall is indeed a firewall within his building. I don't know.
Okay.
It may have been a stipulation when he built that close, or how he got that close, I don't know. I never did find a variance on that building, no.
No.
So whether that building is a rated wall or not, obviously this building is just gonna be a pole and roof structure. Again, just gonna be post beam. So if those were non-combustible, I don't know. I think before we go further, I can look into the Weaver building to see maybe if I can find out what that wall construction
We're going to
is.
assume all the explosives have been previously removed.
I assume that.
Mr. Chair, my only concern is area hopefully to cover, which means he is intending to build like a covered parkway over on that side. That would be a concern of mine if they build it all the way to the lot line and it's right abutting the Weaver's building. If
Yeah,
it
and you
is on the
put,
lot line.
if you're putting, what's the intended to store in there?
Just gear.
Just gear?
Gear.
Because I'm thinking if you put machinery of any sort with fuel in there, you're risking a fire.
I think what you see in that picture is, talking to Mark, I guess, his intent is, if you see down that line, there's crab pots and the
I don't think they
flatbed
have
with
that
nets.
picture.
We don't have that.
Oh, you don't?
No.
he didn't say
Well, you can go look at the property.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah,
You see, it's kind of like this side of the property, there's just nets, a trailer with nets, the crab pots down there, there's bags of lime, it's mainly gear.
He just wants to keep it covered.
Right.
So that it doesn't get the UVs and.
I guess the only concern I've got is if he gets that close, is the fact that where does the snow shed off to?
Right.
Right in the side of Weaver's
Well,
building.
you really can't,
Yeah,
you
there's-
can't shed onto adjacent
there's
property.
snow shed issues, there's also fire issues I see
Yeah.
with going that close and allowing them to go that close.
Yeah, if the warehouse is already abutted up to it,
Then you'd be having, it'd look like downtown if you went that way. Well, although this would be just posts, and then,
Yeah, but then depending on what height his roof's at over there, the Weaver's building could be shedding snow in through the posts into his
I think
building.
Weaver's goes the other direction.
It
I think
slopes the
Weaver's comes
opposite
front
direction?
to back.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
Could we, well, I gotta go take a look at it
yeah.
before I can comment on it. But that's in the future, right?
Yeah.
Right, no,
I
just-
think, I think
we
we,
just
I think
accept
we
it.
accept it, but I think there's gonna be a lot of discussion on this one.
Right.
So,
So the
is
question
there a
is
motion
when-
to accept it?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
If
For the
we
next
have-
meeting.
When is the next meeting?
Well, let's
Let's move on.
come down to,
Maybe
we have to accept
next year.
variance
Yeah.
for the Petersburg Borough, or for the Petersburg Children's Center.
I so move.
Second.
I would like to state that I'd like to have a report from Carl concerning, since this is along Dolphin Street there, that as to any concerns that the borough has about allowing that reduced setback.
Which one?
This is on the Children's Center. They want to do that addition, and they're asking for 5 feet from the property line on the Dolphin Street side.
It already is
It already
5
is.
feet.
Yeah, it already is on the existing
Yeah.
building, but I'm saying if we're allowing them to go more they're in non-compliance right now, or they have variance.
No,
right now.
they're non-conforming because it was
Non-conforming.
before the zoning
Right.
code was passed.
But, if the question is, do we allow them to extend that and make it more non-conforming? I'd like to hear from what
Okay.
Carl has to say about that. So, other than that, I don't have any comments at this time.
Yeah,
So-
just questions to be
Yeah.
answered.
So,
Right. And before I would also like, not only, that's a good idea talking about Carl, having Carl talk. On the other side, it's only a 6 foot, I mean, that's just an alleyway, right?
It's a
Okay.
trail.
That
yeah.
little trail that the
Little
kids
trail.
use from,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a question there.
That easement's
Yes,
been
okay.
vacated, so it's only a 10-foot trail that goes between those buildings.
but
Okay.
it still gives you additional space
Right.
for fire separation.
Okay,
So
okay,
that's
cool.
not
All
a
right.
problem.
Yeah, then I don't
Not
have
to
an
the
issue on that side.
just the Catholics.
Yeah. So,
And then I assume and the Catholic churches are adjacent neighbor,
Right.
and have they expressed any concerns yet?
The letters hasn't,
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
when we'll get comments.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so we're just saying we're gonna talk about this in the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
so do we have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion items. We need to elect a vice chair. Any nominations?
I nominate Dave Kissinger.
Can I decline? No.
Are you going to be here at the next
Well,
meeting?
I don't know, that's my question. Are we gonna even have a quorum? I don't mind doing it, it's just, I get constrained on Tuesdays in the summer.
Yeah,
Because it all depends upon, if the bard shows up, I have to be there.
yeah,
Because I have to make that, because there's no ferry service, I
Yeah.
have to be when the bard shows up on Tuesdays. More than likely in the summertime, it's gonna be late. Like tomorrow, it's probably not till tomorrow night. So I'd say 90% of the time, yeah, I'll be fine. But I do want to alert the board, there is a possibility that I cannot make it on Tuesdays if AML doesn't
Okay.
cooperate.
I'm good with that.
Me too.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I got a question, why can't Mike do it? Are you gonna be gone all summer?
Oh, until the 22nd of next month.
Okay.
Then I'll be home. Then I'll be here all the rest of the year.
Okay.
But I'll be gone until then.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Oh. we
next
have-
meeting?
Next meeting.
No, we have one more issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to request of the mayor that he solicits, when do you expect to no longer be with us? Not this. Not
Demise.
not your demise, but I mean, when do you plan on leaving?
My target date is August 1st, but.
Okay, so you do
That-
your, one more time.
Yeah.
So we could,
It's open, depends if I have traveling buddies or, I've got a lot of business and shit to do.
okay, so I think it'd
Probably
be,
mid-August off.
so if we could, if the mayor could find a replacement for you, you'd be willing to resign before, okay.
Otherwise, we're going to make you stay here.
I've got an issue that, on Tuesdays, I have to travel to Prince of Wales. for my business, but that's in the afternoon. So if I have to meet that in the Rainforest Ferry at 2 o'clock. So
Okay.
as long as we have meetings before 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
What's our time slots on Tuesday look like?
This is July 7th, correct? Or is it the 2nd?
It's the second Tuesday, so it'd be the 7th or the
7th? Or,
14th
The-
is the second Tuesday.
14th.
And I won't be here for sure.
I won't be here the 14th. I could call in, but I won't be here. So our next meeting would then be August. Unless we get additional members.
Or if you have it on another day.
Yeah, just another day.
Well,
Do it this year.
okay.
I head out the 29th of June, so
Okay. Well, what if we tried to shoot for the 7th of July? Would that work? Jim
I
will
won't
still
be
be
here.
here. You won't be here.
I won't be here.
Well, you're not going to be here after the 29th.
After the 29th, I won't be here until like the second week of August.
Okay.
You won't have a quorum because Mike won't be here.
Mike won't be here after, when do you, oh, you're gone too?
I'm leaving today and I don't get back till the 22nd.
Oh, okay, so I guess we're looking at July then, or
We're
August.
looking at August.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Unless we have the meeting right after this one.
That does not give me enough time.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so then we're looking at the 4th of August.
Actually, it would be the 11th.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. I might be available.
I might be back in town by the 11th. I've got to find out
Okay.
what exactly
Yeah.
my schedule is there.
I can be here.
I can be here too on that day. That's not a non-barge day and I don't fly until the 12th.
I think it would be good if we got an inclination of the time frame that the constraints that these projects might be under. You know, if the Children's Center needs to do it sooner than later, maybe we could figure out another way to address it. I don't know. It just seems like it's quite a ways down the road. We're looking at August, and they want to put an
It's kind of
addition
cutting
on.
into the building season if you're looking for a summer building season,
Right.
true.
Well, the only way we could do it is have a meeting before the end of,
Before the end of the, well, if we had the meeting before the 29th,
You'd have a quorum. Everyone
Yeah.
here could make it. Maybe someone would be appointed as well in the meantime, if he asked the mayor.
if we did it on the 23rd and did it in the morning, and then that would help Tom.
can you have the stuff done for the 23rd of this month?
It's 2 weeks.
That's no,
2 weeks prior to the meeting?
No, you
'cause
couldn't
you
do
need
it.
to send the letters out and everything.
that's
Yeah.
15 days from now. You'd have to have the letters out today.
Okay.
I don't think she could do it.
Then I don't think we can do it until August then.
No, it's too quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what time the ferry leaves on the 29th. I could possibly do it if we did it early on the 29th.
Well, you're optimistic about the ferry leaving.
I think it leaves in the afternoon. I
You
think it
realize
leaves
we're
at like
talking about
4
shutting down.
Yeah, that's
Third
what-
day.
Yeah.
Well, I get into Prince Rupert on the 30th.
That's my problem. If we have meetings in the morning, I can make them, but, because I
If we did it sometime, I think the ferry leaves at 4:30
I-
on the 29th, so I could do it on the 29th.
I don't get back until on the morning jet on the 29th.
Let me check what my
We
schedule
can't do the
is.
29th, we can't get the letters out for public, required under public notice.
You can't for the 29th?
Of June?
Yeah.
I think we just said no, right?
No, the 20.
No,
That was the
that was the
23rd.
Oh, 23rd, oh, sorry.
29th.
The 29th is
It-
3 weeks from today.
I could come
I have
straight,
my map.
We'd have to get on it the next day or two.
I could come straight from the, assuming the plane's on time, that's a big assumption. What time do you need to be out the end of the road by? 2? For the rainforest ferry?
Yeah, I'm going every week.
Oh, that'd be a Monday.
We're just expanding the business, and
Yeah.
I'm going every week to Prince of Wales,
Oh,
to
okay, cool.
Kaufman Cove and Thorn Bay.
Okay. Well, that'd be a Monday. Would you be in town on the 29th?
Yeah, but I could, for a few times, I could not go on Monday, so I could go on Tuesday.
Okay. Well, I could make it on the 29th, providing, I just come straight from the plane to here. So be on the safe side, say 1 o'clock.
On the 29th of July.
June.
June.
June?
But I mean, if the Children's Center's not in a time bind, let's just wait until August.
They're still raising money.
Oh,
to do
Oh,
it.
okay.
The ferry,
okay.
the ferry leaves at 3 on the 29th, so I could, anytime before 2, Yes?
As you're pushing the numbers down, you say the children's center, I know that's the building season, but as far as I know, they have not got their plans to the state fire marshal yet, and there's not a chance that he's gonna be done with them by June 29th.
August is
Okay.
probably.
I just, unless he was really kind to the children, he's not gonna crank out a set of plans in 2 weeks. So I think unless the plans are finalized and sent off to him and for his approval, we're looking at least,
So that's not
So
an issue.
we're back to August.
August
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah.
unless, you truly are gonna miss
August
that
4th?
July
Yeah,
meeting
I
though.
wouldn't-
11th.
11th.
Oh, sorry, 11th.
Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, the morning, it doesn't matter.
I'm supposed to come back on the 13th, but I could possibly change that and come back on the 11th.
I get back on the 10th and leave on the 12th, so.
Right? What about you?
I'll be in town. Or I can arrange to be in town.
And Jim's gonna be above ground, but heading somewhere else.
Another question.
Pardon?
Maybe.
Another, I'm opening up
I'm
your
not
mouth.
real sure on the date. but-
No,
No, it's
I
just
have
that
a
the plans,
target, but
they were
this is
kind
only
of
when I get
shifting
my shit
some things
done.
around with maybe not having.
Okay.
So,
That's
Mr. Chair,
but wait.
I propose that we tentatively plan our next meeting for, what, 10 o'clock, August 11th?
10 o'clock on August 11th.
Second, that's not.
Coffee time at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, have fun.